What's up YouTube, Honeybee here, and in this video we're going to be going over all the nerfs that happened in the latest patch for Injustice 2 that released on Thursday, April 19th, which for me was yesterday. They released the patch notes early this morning on April 20th, so we can go ahead and look through some of these changes and see how it affected the characters. The first thing I will note is that this is a relatively small patch, so there's not too many big things that happened. As far as nerfed characters go, the main ones are Firestorm, Black Adam, Black Manta, and Dr. Fate. There was a very small change to Hellboy and a very small change to Starfire that don't really change much of anything, but we can just quickly go over those. So let's go ahead and start off with examining Firestorm and Dr. Fate. So we'll go to Firestorm and Dr. Fate here. Now, as many of you know, Dr. Fate is one of the characters that I do use, so we'll see how these changes will affect him. But first of all, we're just going to go straight to Firestorm and go over some of the notes here. So one thing that they noted in the patch notes is that they adjusted the hit region of Short Burst, which is his down 1 attack. So I think they made this a little bit less range, but as you can see, it's still a really good range. Like, it's kind of crazy how good it is. So if you're here, maybe it used to hit before, but now it doesn't. Now he has to be like there in order to hit you. So it really doesn't matter that much in my opinion. You can still hit them really far for Firestorm. That's not really a big change at all in my opinion. But one of the things that does kind of matter is his atomic burst move, which is this. It used to be +4 on block. Now it's -1. In the patch notes it does say that it has 5 less frames of block stun and slightly increased damage scaling. So the combos that he would normally get from this, they won't do as much as they used to. There we go. I don't really play this character, so I don't really know what combos to use for him, but they don't really do as much damage as they used to. I'm sure he'll still get really good damage, but it's no longer plus on block, so as you can see, you can have Fate block. But as you can see here, it does leave your opponent at like this distance where some characters might not really have a good option to poke back after he meter burns it, and Firestorm can definitely poke back with his down 1. So in some situations there's still definitely gonna be some kind of mind game there, whether or not Firestorm is gonna just whiff punish your poke, or whether he's just gonna respect the fact that he's no longer plus. We'll see how that kind of turns out, but it is a welcome change for people like myself that don't actually play the character, and we wanted him to get a little bit of a nerf. He's no longer guaranteed pressure after that, so if anything, like, the opponent can just choose to back away and try to reset the neutral after that move's done. So that's a little bit of a nerf, so it kind of matters. I will say right away though that Firestorm's Vortex was not touched at all, so he still has like full access to that. Another thing that changed here is Molten Trap. Molten Trap, it has 5 less hit advantage, meaning that if you do hit your opponent with this, it's 5 less frames of hit advantage, 5 less block stun, and 3 more recovery frames on miss, meaning if he whiffs this, he can't recover as fast as he used to. Just 3 frames. It's not a huge deal, but it will matter a little bit when it comes to Firestorm zoning you with this move. The meter burn version has 13 less hit advantage and 5 more recovery frames on miss. So that does matter, and we're going to go over that a little bit more. But essentially, if it has 13 less hit advantage, you'll see that if you do meter burn, hit them, they release from that state a little bit quicker. It doesn't matter all that much when it comes down to his combos, because he can still get a back 3 no problem after he does this, so it's not that big of a deal. As you can see, that still combos. It doesn't really matter. But it even if he gets you from far away, he can still do a dash up. He can still hit you. So he's still gonna get all that fun stuff after it. Maybe he can't like charge his trait as much as he could before. Like that. See, now he can't really do it like that anymore. So maybe that was one way to prevent him from getting free trait charges whenever he hits you. So as you can see, that no longer combos. So that might be one of the reasons they did that. Also, he can't get like a free meter build after. If he does this into this, that will no longer combo. So that's probably one of the reasons why they did that, so that Firestorm doesn't get a free trait. He doesn't get free trait building. He doesn't get free meter building after he hits you with this. He just gets his back 3. So that might be one of the reasons. Not completely sure, but it will kind of matter. And another big thing is that his fusion charge has 3 more recovery frames on block. It no longer shakes the camera upon landing. Camera part, I don't really care about. Never really noticed too much about that. But the fusion charge, this does kind of matter. It's negative 20 on block right now. And before, some characters, I know Flash for one, had a kind of a hard time punishing it consistently, just because he was airborne at the beginning, and then you had to kind of wait for him to hit the ground, and it was a little bit harder to punish. Now, it's not nearly as hard. I know for Flash, he can get a very consistent punish now on this, so that's a nice little change for anyone that was experienced trouble sometimes trying to get a punish on this. Now it really won't be a problem at all. So that's nice. Let's go over this move a little bit more. So shoutouts first of all to Patient Impulse. He's one of my patrons, and he is a crazy lab monster. He does some crazy, really good stuff when it comes to labbing these characters, and he already found some really interesting stuff when it comes down to Firestorm. Let's go ahead and just go over some of those changes. So when we were talking about this meter burn thing, it says it has an extra 5 recovery frames on miss. So let's go over that a little bit and let's talk about that. So for example, if he does this, that's something Firestorm players like to do. Now you can actually get a full combo punish very consistently with basically any character in the game by just doing a neutral jump after and timing it right, and then you can get a full combo. Some characters, it does depend a little bit, because some characters, they can combo when they're going on the way up, and then they go down, and as you can see, that still combos. Some characters, it doesn't quite work that well. So some characters, you'll either have to time it a lot more specifically, or you can't do it at all that way, but there's another way that you can do it. And once again, shoutouts to Patient Impulse for finding this. You can actually just meter burn back 3 through the gap, or meter burn forward 3 through the gap. The timing's a little bit strict, but once you get it down, I'm sure it won't be too difficult to do in a real match. I'm feeling quite a bit right now. There we go. So I don't believe this was possible before, but now it is, and every character can do this. You just have to get the timing right. And this is because there's a little bit of an extra gap in there, so it gives you some time to get your armor out for your meter burn. So if in the Firestorm situation, he's either going to go for the meter burn, at which point you can meter burn through it and you can punish him for it, or he's just going to do it on his own, at which point he will be safe from the punish from the meter burn, as you can see, but he'll probably have to respect it enough to block it, unless he maybe he can jump over or something. Yeah, so there might be some kind of guessing game in there, but you could certainly try to react to it. Either way, if he does do that though, it is unsafe after all. So there's a little bit more of a guessing game that could be there. Also, another thing to note is if he does do it from a range like this, you can still punish it if you have a forward 3 or a back 3 that has enough range, or you could always do that and cancel it and dash up. Some characters that have a really fast dash, like Flash, could do that and actually punish him for it. But someone like Dr. Fate that has pretty good range on their forward 3 could just punish him for it. And Dr. Fate's forward 3 is kind of slow. It's 33 frames, and it still does punish. So that's something that Firestorm players are definitely going to have to look out for, because in some matchups that can certainly have an effect. I think especially when it comes to doing this on block in your face, people should be punishing that. It's a lot easier to punish now. Like, that's not really hard at all. Even if your character can't get an easy punish on it, at the very least you can apply pressure after by just coming down and then hitting them and doing something like that. But if you do have a character that can hit on the way up, it can be a very, very easy punish. So once again, shout outs to Patient Impulse for that. I'll go ahead and leave a link to his channel if you want to see any other cool stuff that he does find out. He finds a lot of cool stuff. So go ahead and check him out on YouTube. But those are the things on Firestorm that I'm going to cover right now. Now let's go ahead and look at Dr. Fate. There are a few changes that were made to him. These changes are not huge, but they do kind of matter. Let's go ahead and go with the first thing, which is his Displacer Orb, which is this. The meter burn duration is now 180 frames, down from 240. So as you can see, if he meter burns it, oops. So that lasts for like roughly 4 to 5 seconds. It used to last 1 second longer. So now characters don't have to wait as long when Fate is hiding behind it. So Fate, he won't be able to get as much like onks built up. He won't be able to pew 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 you as much. So that kind of hurts Fate a little bit, but his orb is still going to be a very, very strong tool, but you're just not going to have to worry about it for as long as you used to. Another thing is that his Almond Raw Blast, which is this, it has a base damage of 6 instead of 7, so they brought the base damage down 1, and his meter burn, not his meter burn, his traded onk damage, his traded blast damage is now 8. It used to be 9, so they just took away some of the damage that Fate had. He definitely had one of the most damaging projectiles in the game. Now it's going to be more on par with some of the other characters in this game. It does a base damage of 6 when it used to do 7, and now this is a base damage of 8 when it used to do a base damage of 9. So that's definitely going to affect him a little bit. Nothing too serious, but it'll just make everyone have a little bit easier time when it comes to dealing with Fate. So let's go ahead and move to the next set of characters we have over here, and we'll go to Black Adam and Black Manta. Once again, the rest of these characters, the changes aren't like too great. I would say the change, so from what I've seen so far, as far as nerfs go, it seems like the Firestorm nerfs might play a bigger role than a lot of the other characters, but let's go ahead and look at Black Manta. So Black Manta slightly reduced Black backdash distance. So for anyone that plays Black Manta, you'll see right away his backdash is not nearly as good as it used to be. It's kind of weak. It used to be ridiculously strong. Now he doesn't go nearly as far back as he used to. So it's not before he could do stuff such as this, where he would just come in with this and then immediately backdash away. Now this still has a lot of pushback, as you can see. The backdash, he'll still separate him a fair amount, but he won't be able to get away as freely as he used to by just backdashing. A lot of characters had either a tough time dealing with it or couldn't really do much at all about it. Now he's a little bit more fair with his backdash. He's still going to be a very strong character. The backdash will definitely affect him, but I don't think it'll kill him or anything like that. He's still going to be a very strong character. He still has really strong meterless damage, so he'll be fine, but he does have that little bit of a backdash nerf. The other thing is that they changed his super move base damage, as you can see here, it's 36.75. It used to be 40.1. So they took away about 5 points of damage from it. His super used to do like a solid 40% on everyone. If you just do it raw, now it's going to do more so around 36 to 37% if you hit someone with it. So still very strong super, it's just not as strong as it used to be. So those are the changes for Black Manta. If we look at Black Adam, some more very slight changes, nothing too major. His meter burn lightning strike base damage was changed. So if you see here, where is it? Lightning strike. It's now a base damage of 15.41. It used to be 19.3, so they took off about 4 points of base damage from it. It's about 3 to 4% damage. And it's also no longer throw immune, so for any command grab characters that might have a little bit more of a change to the matchup potentially. But this, as you can see, is 164 damage right there. It used to do more so around 20% if you could actually hit them with that, which was quite often. People would get hit by that all the time. You could dash up, low lightning, you could dash up, down one, low lightning. Now it's just not going to hurt as much. I think on block it's also not going to hurt as much on block as it used to. As you can see, he's not taking as much, I don't believe he's taking as much chip damage. And the other thing is that it says the second and third hit of lightning strike meter burn will no longer hit airborne opponents outside of juggles. So that's actually a little bit of a nice change, I think, for anyone fighting a Black Adam. Let me go here. So before he would, if he would do something like that and you jump, you could easily get hit by the next parts while you're in the air. Now you're not, according to the patch notes, you won't be getting hit by those anymore. So that's a nice little change. It was very annoying just getting hit in the air when you're just trying to jump away from it, but you'll still get hit. So now you shouldn't be getting hit by that anymore. So that's just a little change that should help the matchup a little bit as well. And anything else it says here, it says fix a rare bug that could prevent the opponent from getting a first hit bonus while Orbs of Seth character power is active. So for Black Adam, that's not a huge change. It sounds like it's just something that would happen very rarely, where if he activates that but gets hit, the opponent wouldn't get the first hit. So now that should be fixed. But as far as Black Adam goes, that's really it. And we can go to Hellboy and Starfire for some very small changes that I really don't think is going to affect much of anything. But we can go ahead and look at that. Okay, so Hellboy, it says here that slightly reduced hit region of up Devil's Revolver, which is this move here. So it shouldn't hit you. I guess like it has a smaller hitbox now, but I spoke to Rye a little bit and he said he doesn't really feel like it changed much of anything. But as you can see, like you'll still hit them if they're jumping in the air like that. So apparently it's reduced a little bit, but honestly I don't think it really matters that much. And for Starfire, it says here that her no longer throw immune during the recovery frames of Starbolt meter burn. Her Starbolt move. I believe it's this one. It says Starbolt, but I think it's Star Blast. This is her meter burn. So apparently she was throw immune during that part of the animation, and now she shouldn't be. That'll probably matter more for a character like Bane that could armor through the beginning and probably throw her after. But it's really not going to change much of anything. So as far as changes go, those are really it when it comes to the nerfed characters. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and check out my other video I'll have up, and it's going to go over all the buffed characters, and we'll take a look at some of those and see how the characters got affected.